Hey Artemy fam, Shonda here, and I'm back with another episode of the Power and Community Podcast brought to you by Art of Me. Today I got to meet with the director and producer by the name Kenley Duke. Today we talk brand storytelling. That's all we talked about, how to work good with other creatives and how to use our expertise on set to be efficient to make sure a project gets done. Kenley gives us tips and tricks, and she's also just really real about what it means to be in the industry. Get your pen and your paper ready because you're going to want to take notes so that you can be efficient in telling stories about yourself, your community, and empowering those around you. That's what we're all about on the Power and Community Podcast, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. See ya! Welcome back to another episode of the Power and Community Podcast brought to you by Art of Me. I'm your host, Shonda, and I have an amazing person on today by the name of Kenley Duke. Hey, Kenley. Welcome to the podcast. So Kenley is somebody that I met through somebody on our team at Art of Me, and she has connected me with so many different people, and then he has connected me with different people. I'm just kind of meeting everybody that's running in different circles, and so Kenley is one of those people. She is the director and producer. And Kenley, do you wear any other hats? I want you to go ahead and let us know what else you do.
Yeah, sometimes I write. Sometimes, well, in the past, I used to be into theater. So I'm an all-around creative from every angle. The best word probably is just a storyteller.
Yes, ultimate storyteller. So I know we did talk previously about your writing, and I'm excited to be able to see some of the things that you've written before and maybe some future things you'll write. I love writing as well. That's like my passion. Like that's my first thing. I'm trying to get into directing and stuff, but I don't know, because I feel like, and I told you this, I feel like you got to have a certain brain for that type of stuff, a certain brain and demeanor. I'm like, I don't think I'm there yet. But speaking of directing, speaking of producing, I want to know, what's the top 5 things you feel like a person should have when they're on set, like they can't do without, whether it be like an object or a mindset or anything?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first thing I would say that you need to have when you come to set is comfortable shoes. It doesn't matter who you are. Comfortable shoes, because it's a lot of movement. It's a lot of moving around. Like as soon as you walk in, you have people greeting you, and they're taking your hair and makeup. They're doing this, they're doing that. So you just want to make sure that you have super comfortable shoes, that you're ready to get down and get dirty and get the work done for the day. My dryer just did the thing.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, you can start over.
So top 5 things that I think you should have when you come on set. The first thing for sure is comfortable shoes. It's a lot of movement. You're always working. Even if you're there as an actor, if you're there as talent, you're still going to be very mobile, walking from one place to the other. So I always suggest comfortable shoes. Second, I would say an eager and a positive attitude. As a new production assistant, sometimes it can be very intimidating. Being on set for the first time, and you kind of initially just draw back and you want to observe, and you want somebody to say, hey, can you help me with this? But that's not exactly how the environment is set up. You kind of have to throw yourself and immerse yourself into what's happening and be eager to learn, eager to fail, eager to just put yourself out there and learn something. So, and a positive attitude while doing so. And I like to, when I'm producing a project, I like to lead with a positive attitude. I like to encourage people. I like to just make sure that everybody feels comfortable. So positivity, eagerness, absolutely bring that. And then I would say, it sounds silly, but bring Sharpies. I'll tell you why. Because even for me, starting out as a production assistant, I had a fanny pack full of stuff. Tape, chapstick, Sharpies, the tape measure, just random things. And then if somebody on set is like, does anybody have a Sharpie? Me, I have a Sharpie. And that really just signifies that you're useful. Somebody can look to you and get something that they need. And so it's good starting off being a PA, because you want to just jump in and say, I can help. I can be an asset to this project right now. And then I will say it's really essential to bring some type of call sheet with you. So nowadays it's digital, but pre-COVID, we definitely had printed out call sheets front and back with the schedule on it, with the location on it, with the lunchtime on it, with the names of all the crew, their emails, their phone numbers, everything that you need to know. And so that was really useful for me when I was, starting my journey in production, because I would study that call sheet and I would have it on me. Because if anybody asks a question, again, I can make myself useful, resourceful, and say, what time is lunch? Oh, it's 2:30. Or what time is this? Or does anybody know where this person is? I'll call them because I have their number. I know exactly who you're talking about. So in knowing people's names is really good too, before they even know yours. Hey, Joe, nice to meet you. My name is Kenley. And they're like, oh, you know who I am. And it's like, no, I don't. But I looked at the call sheet and, I got a step ahead of the game to be able to, communicate and network with the people amongst you. And lastly, I would say one thing that I make sure, as a producer now that I bring to set is patience. So as a leader, sometimes you get really married to a schedule, you get married to a process, you get married to, what you think things should be and look like, and you want that to happen, and that's how you measure success for the day. But that's not always true, because you're going to have random fires thrown at you from left and right, and you have to be patient with yourself, patient with your crew, and patient with each other, because it's teamwork, it's team effort, and there are going to be little fires, and you're going to have to put them out. But when you do that, you have to do it, with a patient heart, so that, everybody can still enjoy the process of the random things that could happen when you're in production.
No, why do I see you with like a little bag with everything inside of it? No, seriously. So my friend Brianna Clay, if you haven't seen the Brianna Clay episode, you should check it out. We talk about Black sisterhood and everything. She recently had her opportunity to be a PA on the set, and she was like telling me, it was on the P-Valley set, and she was telling me how stressful it was, and she wasn't like really anticipating it, and she almost wanted to quit like the first 2 days in, but she was so glad she stuck it out because she was able to understand the type of tenacity it takes to be on set. And you are so right about comfortable shoes and just always making sure you're helpful, having a positive mindset, being patient, because shooting and all of that stuff, I mean, it has its ups and downs and has so many things that can go wrong and sometimes does go wrong. And what we don't need is you and your attitude when we all trying to figure out what to do. So I agree with those top 5 things. Creatives that are listening, and I hope y'all taking notes. Y'all saying y'all want to be on set. Y'all saying y'all want to be a part of projects bigger than yourself. I hope you're taking notes. So remember when I said early, sorry, I have a timer for it. Malcolm, edit that out. Earlier when I said it takes a certain mindset to be on a set, do you feel like you are like super organized like that in life in general, like away from the set? Do you feel like that is a part of who you are, or did you have to learn to be that?
So that's I love that question, because it kind of I don't think you realize how deep, that kind of question sets this conversation up for. So as a little Black girl growing up in Portsmouth, Virginia, it's a country town on the southeastern side of Virginia. And so I've always been the one who wants to help the teacher pass out the homework. I want to write stuff down on the board for her. I wanted to be involved in processes. And I knew that at a very young age, that I just wanted to be helpful. I wanted to be a leader. I wanted to be somebody that people could rely on. And I always knew I was creative. But taking those things and then moving along through life, you have people that try to water that down. And sometimes you even water that down yourself. But I've always been like that. And so transitioning into finding my path in my career, as a creative, I didn't really know that a position like a producer existed. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know how to do it. I just heard of that and I didn't know what that even meant. But really what it does mean is you are responsible for the operational procedures and managing all the different elements of production, no matter what that medium is. And in doing so with that, I've learned from being a producer, how to organize myself in real life. So I do have spreadsheets that list out my, weekly meals. I do have spreadsheets that list out my debt tracking and my budget tracking. I do utilize lists and Google Drive and all those things to make sure that my life is in order. And a few of my favorite tools to use when organizing my life would be Google Drive. I like to organize my projects and whether it's life personally or whether it's for production, I like to organize it in Google Drive because obviously they're shareable, they're quick, you can collaborate. And then I like to use Airtable too. Airtable is a really cool tool that helps you organize different projects that you're working on. So it's like a Google Drive, but you're able to change the spreadsheet look. So you can do different types. You can categorize things by groups. You can categorize it by category. You can categorize it by anything. And Airtable is a great place to just manage, all of, your working tasks, whether it's planning a birthday trip, whether it's, making sure you have let's say, okay, example, I'm reorganizing my home right now. So I want to paint something. I want to make a new DIY coffee table. And so I'm managing those tasks and managing all those things I need to get in Airtable. And I do that for production as well. So it helps me stay organized. And I like to leave room for error. I don't do that in production. No room for error. In my life, I do like to give myself way more grace than I give myself on set because I like to experience failure so that I can see a spot that's highlighted. And it's like, okay, I need to do better in this area. I need to do better in that area. And essentially that happens on set as well through things that you don't anticipate. But, the only difference there is I do leave room for myself to fall short of organizational, goals versus in production. You really don't have time for that. So that's the only thing I would say that's different.
Yeah, I like that you said you give yourself room to have error in your personal life because I get like in production how more intense it is and how it's like it really ain't room for error because like we got to get this show done, we got to get these things like out there. But giving yourself grace in life, I think is a good balance. And I'm just remembering how I said I don't have the brain for this. And when I'm listening to you talk about spreadsheets and organizing, I'm like, you know what? I need to get that sharpened before I even think about walking in this direction. But I get that you're saying you had to learn to do those things. I just like to be pre-prepared before I get into something intense. So I'm gonna be thinking about, you call it Airplay, you said that it's called?
Airtable.
Oh, Airtable. Airplay is like something with Apple. Okay, Airtable. And is it an app or you just be on like a website or something?
Yeah, so it is a desktop tool, like a software. They do have a free version and you can upgrade it if you want, but I utilize the free version. I do the same. There's another one called Asana. That one tracks tasks, but Airtable pretty much does project tracking.
Okay. Well, y'all need to check out Airtable, especially if you're not an organized person and you're thinking about getting into production. People need organized people in production. Kenley, like even thinking about like, I know you said you worked in advertising marketing a little bit for doing production for in those spaces. And sometimes when I think about like advertising and marketing, I always think about, I don't know, like in the movies, those people who say they work for like advertising agencies and stuff are usually making up the jingles and stuff. So they got their little songwriting notebook and the guitar and they kind of like come up with a song and then present it to the ad agency and it ends up in a commercial. That's always where my head goes, but I'm sure it's like obviously other roles. But what is it real? What is advertising and marketing, like production and what you do? What is that really about? And then because it is about pleasing like a client or a company that wants to get like a certain message across, how do you still keep like your flavor, your style in directing and producing in that space?
Yeah, so you're not wrong. Some people that may be a part of their process is sitting there, with their guitar trying to find a jingle. However, branding has evolved a lot since, businesses first started to be established. Now branding is this, honestly, like this new millennial thing that everybody is trying to get on board with. Is brand storytelling, finding their messaging, finding their voice, finding all these things that define them as a brand. So the jingle part, that will not just, jingle, but a lot of things have to be defined already before you even get to the ad agency. You shouldn't be still trying to figure out who you are, what your voice is when you want an advertisement agency to create a project for you. So us creating projects, or seeing projects through for big brands, they bid on a whole bunch of different ad agencies. So they don't just throw one at this certain company. They say, okay, this certain company does really good digital social work. This company does really good documentary, small project work. Like they look and see who does what that's going to best suit them, and then they pass that project to that team. And so, personally, there was a project that I got a chance to work really closely on, and I got to add some of my flavor into it because that's what the project called for. So you really have to look at the project needs, and does it even need my flavor, or does it need me to, or does this project call for me to align with the brand voice and pull from research? Because sometimes I don't need to put anything personal into it, but then there's opportunities where I can and where I do. So I got a chance last year to write and produce, along with my teammates at the advertising agency, a TV special for Doc McStuffins. So that was really cool for me because it's Doc. Like, she's a little Black girl, and even though she was a cartoon, even though there wasn't much like depth to this character, when I was writing for her, I was pulling from my own experience, and I was pulling from being a little curious Black girl, and and writing from that core place. So it's really a time and a place for everything, even in writing, even in creating. You don't want to like hoard the creative process and make it about you all the time. And so you have to kind of just pick and choose and use your best judgment to know, like, do I need to sprinkle a little flavor in here? Yeah, it can use some seasoning, some creative seasoning. Or it's like, what, that's true to them. I don't need to emerge myself or emerge, my culture or anything into this moment because it doesn't call for it. So it really just depends on the project, on the brand, on the business. And you have to use your best judgment as a creative to know that this isn't about me. Or if you see an opportunity for you to, add something relevant, add something purposeful to it, definitely you take that opportunity.
Yeah, I like that. I like, again, that you're just talking about the balance of knowing how much you need to put in creatively and knowing how much to draw in and draw back, and not, be too elaborate, because at the end of the day, it's not about you completely, which we talk about a lot on here as creatives. When we're creating things, it is about pulling other people up. It is about supporting other people, supporting other creatives. It's not just, even when you are doing your own project, it's about a message for people, right? You're not just creating something for you to watch. So I think that is important, like you said, to have that collaborative spirit. And it just goes back to being patient and being attentive, like we mentioned before with the PA job. I do have some questions. So being that, like, you're organized and you kind of do your thing and you're really good at what you do, I don't even have to be on set, I can tell. So that you kind of put together, and that doesn't mean you're perfect. It just means you understand how to, compartmentalize in your head. And I think people do struggle with that. So even just listening to the tips that you gave to stay organized and kind of have a balance of things, I hope everyone is able to use that. But what do you do in between jobs? How do you survive as a creative person, thinking about this question when you think about yourself physically, emotionally, and even financially? That's kind of how I want you to think about this question. How do you survive during the downtime?
Yeah, it is tough. And anybody in this industry or anybody pursuing a lane that isn't quite carved out yet at all for, I think millennials and in our age group, in our generation, we created creative jobs. That wasn't a thing. My parents at first, they were like, so you want to be a journalist? I'm like, no, I don't. I do not. I don't want to be a journalist. I'm like, okay, so you want to be a videographer? Nope, I don't want to operate a camera. And they're like, well, where does the money come in? How is this working? So I think our generation kind of, utilize our intellectual property and like the creative juices that we're cultivating. And we're like, okay, let's put a stamp on this. Like, let's put some money on this. Let's put like a job title on this. This is a real thing. People are going to need this. And so transitioning into this lane is not safe. It's not secure. The road is still being carved out. I don't know what this path looks like. I'm really just playing it by ear. And in the meantime, I can work on myself. And I know that's such a general, broad answer, but it's best that you really prepare yourself for the next project and be expectant. And so you're going to have times where you're like, Lord, what in the world is going on? Why am I not getting any jobs? Because I had a very dry spell. I had a dry spell that lasted 5 months where I didn't have any work. And so I had to go back into the 9-to-5 lane for a little bit. And it was really tough because then I didn't have any time for my creative pursuits at all. So in the meantime, you just have to have crazy faith and not like, I have faith that God's going to come through. You have to almost be delusional that this is going to work out, and delusional in a way that it's like, you need to get a job. It's like, yeah, I know, but like, I believe that this is going to work. And people are just like, this doesn't sound safe, doesn't sound secure, doesn't sound right. And it's like, yeah, it's not, it doesn't. And it's not supposed to make sense to you. I don't even think it makes sense to me, but I know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm going to, do my best to cultivate this path. In the meantime, you can work on your mental health. You can read, you can explore and create with other creatives. And I always say to my friends, like, create your own opportunities. If nothing is coming, get together with your people and create something. Because at the end of the day, Issa Rae says this a lot, that you have to network across, because the people that you're working with today are going to be the people in the future who are going to be able to position you into a greater place. It's going to be, not only is it harder, but it just seems like unaligned to be, wishing and hoping to get to somebody up here when they don't know you, they don't know anything about your work ethic, they don't know anything, and they have to take this chance on you. But imagine kind of coming from a place where you worked with this person, you were on their set when they didn't have anything, and now they're saying, hey, come be in my writer's room. I love to be in your writer's room, and in the meantime, you kind of have to really implement this crazy delusional attitude that all of this is going to work out. And that's how I mentally get forward. And on a chill note, I do like to spend time with my friends and my family. So I like to make sure we're going on all different types of ventures. I'm located in Atlanta, Georgia. So there's always something to do, always something to explore. So working in production is demanding. So if I'm not doing that, I would like to be doing something that requires me to not be creative. I don't want to be creative. I just want to sit on a chill. I like to watch movies. I like to watch TV shows. I'm going to shout out a random show that I've been watching lately because, so we do. But I really like Tell Me Your Secrets on Amazon Prime. It's a really cool, like, swampy, small town murder mystery show. I love a psychological thriller. So, if you're not doing anything, if you're in the meantime right now, go binge watch that because it was really good.
I'm gonna have to watch that because I got a lot of downtime too, but I'm definitely in that space where it's like I left my job, decided to do my creative adventures. It worked for a short amount of time, and now I'm having to go back to the 9-to-5. But my whole thing is that I want to do something that has to do with what I want to do. So I'm like looking for content writing jobs and stuff like that. I don't want to be a content writer, but it's writing, right? So I'm trying to find something similar to that. But when you were talking about being delusional and believing it would work, I have a lot of people saying, well, just go to UPS for a little while. Just try Amazon. Just do this for a little bit, because at least you'll get it and you'll have some money coming in. And it's like, I hear y'all, but like mental health and being focused on what I want, I'm just going to have to keep eating ramen noodles for a couple more weeks until I find what I need to do. And it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable at all. And I don't think this lifestyle and choosing industry industry jobs are always going to be comfortable, because even when you think about starting out as a PA, you jump from different projects. You don't always have these long-term things. Sometimes you do got to pick up for a week and fly to Atlanta to be on this set and working. And it's not easy, but I know I'm delusional in the way of I'm about to give me a writing job. If I go back to a 9-to-5, it's going to deal with writing, right? And this is a very tough thing to navigate. But another thing I wanted to touch on that you talked about was that brand and marketing. And I know that you have an organization yourself that I wanted to talk about, that you work with 2 other women or 3 other Black women, 2 other Black women. And then can you say the name? Because I don't want to butcher it. I don't want to mess up the brand. Can you tell me how to pronounce it?
Mieux Ensemble.
Okay.
It's a French translation. Yes, Mieux Ensemble. It's a French translation for better together.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I was stalking you a little bit. I went to the website. I love the website. Very, by the way, very clean, very warm. And I love all of your pictures and everything. Y'all look really good. So talk to us a little bit about that organization. I really want to hear about brand storytelling for you as a Black woman. What's the most enjoyable part? What's the hardest part?
So there's a dump truck outside of my window. I just want to wait for a second to make sure that it's gone.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Sounds like it is.
Okay.
Sounds like it is. So brand storytelling as a Black woman. Wow. So brand storytelling is not just this one thing. And it sounds like this umbrella term for telling a story about a brand. But how do you do that? So with the women in my business, Mieux Ensemble, we're all co-founders of it. We all birthed this business in the middle of a pandemic. We decided, okay, we all bring something really important to this creative process. Let's put our brains, let's put our minds, put our gifts together, and let's move as a unit and be able to, storytell together with all of our strengths combined. So I have, 2 women on my team that happen to be my best friends and my sisters in real life. And they are geniuses when it comes to ideating, brand messaging and different types of marketing strategies and all these creative ideas when it comes to brand storytelling. And my strength is to do brand storytelling through visual medium. So my favorite part about it is being able to, do the storytelling through video, through photos, through all these different types of, visual projects. And I really enjoyed that. And I enjoy working with my team to see it come from, we'll sit in a consultation with the client. They're telling us all these things they want to do with their business. And then I'll see Brianna and Monica, that's their names. And they will go through this entire brand dump for weeks with our client to break down what their messaging is going to be like, break down what their core values and their unique proposition and how they're going to take that and change it into messaging and build a digital marketing strategy. And once they get this strategy together with their digital marketing plan, then I can come in and say, great, here are the assets that you guys are going to need to implement your digital marketing strategy. Now I'm going to create them with visual storytelling. And so that's pretty much how our process goes. And my favorite thing about it is being able to just take something and take nothing and then make it something. And that process is really fulfilling. I like seeing our clients really happy with our work at the end. And I like knowing that we can do this, that we can execute, because oftentimes, people don't give, minorities in this space or minority women in this space room to grow and room for error. And like I said before, we're still learning, we're still growing. And with that, people see Black people in this space and they're like, oh, it's another, rinky-dink creative agency. And it's like, it's back. Okay. 1 second. So people see, Black people building creative agencies, and they're like, oh, that's another Black business. That's another this, that's another that. And I get it, but we need more people in this space to normalize it. Once it's normalized, then I'll be happy. Once we're working with creative agencies, once we're working with women in Black-owned creative agencies, and those are the people that we're going to with our projects, and we're normalizing it more, then I'll be okay. Right now, I don't like that we are isolated. There's only less than 1% of creative agencies are Black, and less than 0.5% are woman-owned and Black. So with that, it's just like, we need more of that. We need to utilize our network more, come together, and use our creative pursuits and our creative talents to pour back into the community, because we have something inside that people need. So being able to meet needs is really important in this industry. And me and my business, me and my friends, me and my co-founders, we're trying our best to do that.
I totally get what you mean about the percentages. I had to write an article on the Black dollar, and I had to like look up Black businesses and the struggle that it is to get loans, to get people to take you seriously, like across the board. I mean, it's ridiculous, and it really has overtones of prejudiceness and systemic racism and all of those things that we could totally do a whole other episode about business and being Black. But I mean, I'm proud of y'all for even taking on a lane that's already difficult to get started in and just being like, we're gonna get this done. I wanted to ask you, what's the biggest lesson you've learned with starting Mule Ensemble? I like that. With starting that, what's the biggest lesson you learned working together or working with other creatives?
Yeah, so the biggest lesson I'll say here that I've learned is that, well, I'll take a step back. So for a long time, I was kind of used to creating by myself. And so my friends always knew I was creative, and they're like, oh, okay, like let's go to Kenley for this creative thing. And then I'll give them that creative thing, and then that's it. But collaborating with other creatives, you have to embrace other people's processes of how they create. And so because we create as a team now, most times I have to adjust. And sometimes we're on like brainstorming sessions, and I'm like, let's do it this way. And they're like, Kenley, that's not how we do it. And I'm like, well, we need to do it the way I need to do it. No, that does not work. And I learned that very quickly, because creative processes look different for everybody. And you need to embrace everybody's individual creative process. And just like, my creative process is what it is, theirs is what it is. And we have to give each other space and give each other platforms to do that. So I've learned that working with, my friends and, them being my co-founders too. Sometimes I get emotional. I'm the emotional one. Like, guys, like, they're like, no, Kenley, this is okay. We're still the best of friends, but we do need to, do it how we need to do it. So I've learned that, you can't wear your emotions on your sleeve. You can't take things personal. You have to lean into, sorry, sorry, it's my dog. I'm going to start from, you have to lean into. So you have to lean into uncomfortability to be able to, collaborate with a team, with a team of creatives, because you definitely want to make sure that you are embracing everybody's process. And if it's a whole bunch of embracing going on, then everybody can literally become their best selves and present their best work to the table.
I think that is important to remember. As creatives, sometimes we can be so like visionary that we do forget, oh man, I'm working with other people. I got to be conscious of other people. We be so passionate and just so excited that we forget sometimes to dial it back and be like, oh yeah, other people have perspectives. They have other visions too. And I need to make sure mine melts well with those other people. Kenley, I love this conversation. I wish that we could talk longer. I swear I say this at the end of every podcast episode. I'm like, it's not long enough. We need 3 parts to really be able to say everything that needs to be said. But you've said, so you've given us a lot of tips, like our creators listening in. Again, I hope y'all had y'all pen and y'all paper, because you've given us a lot of tips on how we can be successful. And I know this is just the tip of the iceberg for you. I know we talked a little bit about people you've already worked with brand wise and directing and producing. You've done a lot of great things, and I can't wait to see what you're going to do next. If you have a project you want to let us know about, or at least just connect us to your social media, and then how we can get connected with Mule Ensemble, just go ahead and drop that for us right now.
Yes. So thank you everybody for listening. I really appreciate you allowing me to share my story, share a little bit of my journey with you all. Thank you, Shonda, so much for being an amazing interviewer. This is such a great time we had this morning. But you can follow me on social media at Kenley Duke. So basic, I know. But I couldn't think of anything else. So it's just my name. And you can follow my journey there. I've been working on a really huge project that has a really big rollout coming in just a few weeks from now. So if you stay tuned, you'll be able to see the drop of that. I was a creative director on it, and I wrote it, and I was really involved with this process. And one of the first things I've ever done where I had so much involvement. So very excited for you guys to see that soon. And you can follow my business at mieuxensemble.co on Instagram. I'll help you with the spelling. mieuxensemble.co.
Yes, get connected to Kenley stuff. I'm telling y'all, this is a person you want to follow her, so you can keep up with her content and everything that she's going to be bringing to the table. And I'm gonna keep watching too, because I want to know what the big thing was that you just got working on that you got to be all hush hush about. That means it was big. So I can't wait to connect with her social media and see it. And then speaking of social media, don't forget to follow us on our Instagram at artofme.org. Follow our website, www.artofme.org. And we also have Facebook, Art of Me Productions on Facebook. Follow us, like this episode on YouTube. If you're listening to it via audio podcast, like it on whatever platform you're on. Share it so we can get more views and more listeners. And I will see you creators on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in. What's up, Art of Me fam? Shonda here, and I'm the host of the Power and Community Podcast, and I have a cool message for you. I need you right now to go head over to www.artofme.org, find our contact button, and hit donate now. That is the only way we're going to be able to continue to bring you amazing content, like talking to our filmmakers on podcasts, interviewing different communities in our publication, and then creating animations and short films. We want to continue to tell stories that are important to you. Head over right now, www.artofme.org, hit contact, and then hit donate now in order to help us fund amazing stories that are important to our communities. See you soon.